Yo, my bros, Chad Reed Compound, MX Simulator. Finally, I don't think I've ever seen a Chad Reed compound in this game at all, ever before, so it's pretty cool to see it, regardless of what kind of real-life professional compound kind of thing that you can get in the game. So you guys know there's a couple different versions of the James Stewart compound, Blake Baggett compound. They got quite a few different compounds of a lot of different riders out there, but this is the first sort of Chad Reed compound I've ever seen before, and it's made by Jack Perry. So you guys may know him from a couple of different tracks out there. I think the actual forum post was made by Dale Mullins, but he said in the post that it was actually a post for Jack Perry. So I really wish people wouldn't do that. That's one little complaint that I have. Like, please do not make track posts for other people, because it makes it look like you're the person that made the track. Whoever makes the post is the person that made the track. That's what it seems like, because I almost went in there and said, this is the Dale Mullins, this is the dude that made the track, because he made the post. I just glanced at it, right? But then I kind of read a little bit more, and he was like, hey, I'm making this post for Jack Perry. So come on, guys. Like, it's not that hard to do a post on the forums. Like, just do it for your own tracks, man. That's all I'm trying to say here. So either way, I thought the track was quite a bit of fun. Got some kind of similar vibes to the James Stewart Compound 2000, I think it was 15, but not exactly like it. It's kind of definitely got its own feel. I love this section right here in particular, the one that kind of you roll around those rollers, and then you come over this section. Really gives you the feeling like you're on the actual Chad Reed compound, like some of the real live videos you might have seen of it, and some of the bigger jumps, like bigger doubles, and some of the very steep, tall tabletops, but they're not like super far in distance. Definitely give you the feeling of a real life Chad Reed compound. I've seen quite a bit of Chad Reed compound, real life footage and helmet cam footage and stuff. So it was definitely a cool thing to see a lot of that on this track, and just be like, oh man, I do remember those kind of jumps and sections and stuff like that from the real life Chad Reed compound. So I guess technically this is like what year is it? I don't think it's like a 2018 Chad Reed compound. I think they're kind of replicating like a 2000, I don't know, 15 to 17 or some shit. I don't think it's actually like theoretically, technically, exactly 100% like a 2018 compound, but either way, I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of a cool little change up to a lot of other tracks out there, and I'm actually going to be reviewing the entire compound. I know I don't usually do that. I try to keep it to just one track a piece, but when it's these certain compounds like this, I feel like they're all kind of one track, even though you can race on different versions of them. I want to try to go in there, and when people really do like a big compound like that, I want to try to put it all into one review instead of trying to split it up into 1,000 different reviews of all the little individual tracks within the big compound. I think it's better overall just to review the entire compound. Got to be a little bit careful right there. Got a couple of little indented ruts down in those, I don't really know what you'd call them. They're kind of like smaller roller-ish kind of jumps right there. Fairly medium-sized tabletop. So, yeah, man, fun little outside rut berm style to it and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the motocross portion. Thought it was probably the best track in the entire compound, I would say. Fun sections where you can just hold it wide open all the way around, then never let off. 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 12th gear. It don't even matter, bro. Like, you're going wide open on a lot of these sections, and it's cool. You can carry that high speed feel in a lot of places on the track as well. So that's really fun. Right here, you can kind of jump to the side of the jump and not get nowhere near as much air. And it's like you're kind of coming off the side of the face, and you can do that with quite a few jumps on this track. I don't know if people would kind of technically call that cheating or not, but you can definitely shave off a lot of time off your lap times by doing that. So, yeah, man, I just love the skill it takes on this section right here to hold it wide open around those rollers, and it feels like you're really able to go right down in certain rollers very, very well on the track. Like, if you're hitting it wide open, it feels like there's actually a rhythm to it. So, thought that was pretty cool. Now, there are some sections you are going to have to kind of get on your brakes right before a corner, or slam on your brakes right before over a jump or over a single and certain stuff like that. So you want to be a little bit careful at the beginning. You don't just want to go balls to the wall and think that you're going to just survive on the track. You really got to know where the corners are and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, that was basically the motocross portion right there. I thought a lot of the jumps were fun. Corners kind of have a feeling where they're like, I don't know if it was really made for a road. Kind of seems like it was. I can't, 100% verify that, but I do think, I mean, it's not like big berm, big ruts in the corners whatsoever. So, but they are there to some degree. So I don't know if he was just going for a really like smoothed out sand berm filling, or if he was going for trying to make it like smaller pre-made sort of berms and ruts and stuff, so that when you did have a road on it, it didn't make like just crazy huge trenches in the ground and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what he was going for or what, but it is fun for sure. So this is one of the Supercross tracks right here. You can get going pretty quick on this puppy. It's one of those where you can hit some massive lines. Doesn't have like a big scale to it, right? Doesn't have like a I don't know how to explain that, but like a bigger, like farther apart jump scale. It's a lot closer together. This particular Supercross track right here, you can get going pretty quick right there if you rail up the inside. The whoops are fairly small and close enough together to where you can pretty much hit them as fast as you want to. Like there's not a whole lot of, doesn't really kick the front end up over the whoops or feel like the front end's going to dive down in them or anything like that. So there is a really big huck right here. You can jump over this little tabletop and do, I think it's like a quad right there. Kind of feels like a bit of a retro design Supercross track. It almost feels more like a maybe like a 2013 AMA mixed with a 2014 AMA Supercross track or something like that. It doesn't feel like a modern day one that you would normally find in the game. So yeah, as I was just saying, the whoops are not very difficult, and then I'm over here crashing on them, but so you can triple into that, and then you can quad this. And I think I actually went to the other Supercross track right here, and you can hit a massive, I think it's like a quad 5 on that other rhythm over there. But this other Supercross track over here is a little bit more simplistic in design and spaced out kind of rhythms to it. It's not quite as close together, feeling like you're hitting, quads and 5s in every rhythm or something like that. Almost feel like that other Supercross track over there was made a little bit more for like a 250 maybe or something. I don't know, it's kind of the feeling I get from it, but the vibe I got on this Supercross track, this felt very similar to that Kawasaki test track they had in the game. Can't even remember when that came out, but just that building over there, you can see it up there in the upper right over there. It just kind of gave me that feeling, and kind of the overall feeling of the skybox and the trees and some of that kind of stuff gave me the feeling of that Kawasaki test track. But yeah, you can, don't know what the best line is there, maybe triple and then quad, or quad and then triple. Not exactly sure, but you can rail up the inside right here and hit this main triple pretty quickly. You got to be careful on that, or you will overjump it or smack on the face of it so hard that your bike gets all kinds of out of shape. And you guys know what I'm talking about. When you hit a certain Supercross peakness jump way too fast, the suspension just cannot handle it, and it kind of goes psycho on you there. So either way, man, Chad Reed compound. It's cool to see it. I love to see it. Shout out to you, Jack Perry, for doing this. I always love to see replica tracks. I know they're hellacious trying to make in any sort of game, because you're trying to like go off of GoPro videos and real life videos, especially a track that you've never even rode on in real life. That's a task and a half trying to actually make that in this game. And just replicas in general, man, they're a headache, because instead of just going in there and kind of free-flowing, building whatever you want to and doing that kind of thing, it's almost like you're sitting there going, let me try to build this corner perfect. Oh, no, that's not perfect. Let me try to come over and build this corner perfect, and then this jump perfect. Oh, no, that's not perfect. Got to redo it. It's got that, like, really, you got to almost be a perfectionist to really make, like, replica design tracks for a game like this. And I found that to be very, very difficult, something that I've done a little bit. I've done just the simple, like, reflex replica tracks that I've made for MX Simulator. They were a difficult task, man. I mean, it took a long time to sit there and try to do it, and they're still not even, like, 100% accurate. It's be about impossible to get something 100%, but just getting it somewhere in the ballpark is a challenge in itself. So it's always cool to see people trying to do that in MX Simulator, trying to do the replica stuff. I know a lot of people love replica tracks. I can't tell you the amount of emails and stuff I've gotten from people saying, hey dude, can you make my hometown track? Hey dude, here's some helmet cam footage of my hometown track. Can you make it? It's like, it's just, I don't know. And I love the way they look at the end. I love love everything about replica tracks other than the fact of how hard it is to get them like the real life track. That's the whole like hiccup with it, you know. It's just so much easier to go in there and just make your own kind of track and just kind of free flow and design it however you want to, and however that corner turns out is how it turns out, and make whatever kind of design whatever you want to. One of the hardest things about it is just simply the trying to get the layout of it all right and make it actually feel like that real life track. You know, you can build it like that real life track and it not feel like that real life track, right? There's so many more elements that goes into it than just the actual dirt terrain building itself. Like, you got to be able to capture the right skybox for the real life track. You got to be able to capture the right decals to give you the real life track feeling, and the grass objects and the trees and all that type of stuff. I feel like this track right here, you know, it's got a bit of a different kind of skybox than that James Stewart compound one. That James Stewart compound track, 2000, I think it's 15. That one really, really gave me the feeling of being on the James Stewart compound in real life. This one, I don't know how much of an actual Florida feeling it gives you. You know, it might be slacking just ever so slightly on that type of feel. I don't know how, like, Florida tropical this really feels. And I know that it's not tropical in the sense of, like, Hawaii, you know, to that level. I get it. But at the same time, like, if I knew that, if I didn't know that this track was in Florida, I probably would never, like, think that. I would never think, oh, this is a track in Florida. So I don't know how much it really captures that type of feel to it, but either way, man, it's got that motocross track, 2 supercross tracks, and a supermoto track. Almost said super motocross track. So the supermoto track, let's just be honest right now, this is like bare bones minimum. I mean, he didn't even raise it up on the little, you know, little side skirt things right there to the inside. It's all super flat, super simplistic. It is cool to see it, but she's the absolute minimum of a supermoto track that you can make. It does have concrete traction, so you will be popping some wheelies without even trying on it for sure. So either way, that's something you'll probably run like 2 laps on and then be like, okay, let's go to something else. Oh God, let's just jump all those jumps in one jump. Hell yeah, dog. A little bit of free ride action going on here. Oh, dude, look at the transfers. I like totally did that on accident right there, but and then can't even hit the main rhythm on the track right here. That is a bit of a weird rhythm, that particular one right there. It's almost like you got to slow down and hit like a triple before you hit the quad instead of just hitting it big at the beginning. All right, so I got it in third person here for the motocross track. I wanted to take kind of a little bit of a deeper look on this because I think this is kind of the, I mean, the other little tracks on the compound are cool, but this is really what you're here for. Like, let's not play around, you know, let's not mess around. This is really what you're here for. So you go over this first look, got to slow down right there. You'll way over jump that. And this, like, you can jump it down into these little, like, almost bigger braking bump rollers, whatever you want to call them. So there are some, you know, variable, like, for how far you can jump some of the singles and stuff like that. So that is cool to see that kind of skill gap to it there. It doesn't feel like you just have to hit every single jump a certain way, but nice little tabletop right there. You could probably hit that on any bike, not super difficult, but you can see kind of that 3 berm, pretty standard, a little bit on the smaller side of a berm, a little bit on the more smoothed out, smaller type of feel, not like a really grab you. It's got a bit of a balance there where you will pop right out of that berm if you just gas it and don't really pay attention to like how much you're turning and how much you're on the throttle with throttle control. Cool how you can overjump that into those little braking bumps. Then you got this nice, it's one of those jumps I really feel like could be on a Chad Reed compound. And this one right here as well, how you kind of float right on up over that. Nice bigger style double. I love those kind of jumps on compound tracks, man. Those, like, you know, 150 foot doubles where it's got really big, almost like a tabletop style landing to it, but not really. Kind of hard to explain that, but falling wide open through the sand roller. He's got a little bit of ruts. You can see that, almost like a little bit of a rut vibe coming up the face of that. That really looks like something that's made for a road. Wonder what that would do if you rode on something like that with the road like 20 laps. Would it really dig down in a straight line? Because a road has that problem in this game where it only actually subtracts terrain when you're turning. It doesn't do it going in a straight line, so you never have ruts going up the face of a jump. So this is one of those semi-realistic tracks, not like super rutty everywhere. More of a it's kind of a standard MX simulator track in that sense. Nothing too crazy, just a standard. The way it's actually designed, most of the jump faces are perfectly smooth on this track. Not like crazy kickers, and then the corners, you don't have a lot of crazy, like, really jagged, sharp ruts, like bigger ruts where you really got to focus before you get into them, like a lot of your AMA style ruts and stuff on certain tracks. This one's got more of that mellow, just kind of pin it wide open through the sand type of rut feeling to it. But they will grab you to a certain extent, just not like crazy. So nice. Feels like a really big tabletop. There, he should have put a damn stop sign on both sides of that jump face right there, because you will over jump that. When you go up to the face of it, you're kind of thinking in your head like, oh shit, this is gonna be like a 150 to 200 foot jump, and then once you actually get in the air, you realize it's just like a 100-foot jump. So you got to be a little careful on a couple of those little areas. But yeah, I don't know on the. You see that part, like part of the off track over there in the distance over that white fence over there? I don't know how much that really captures like a Florida vibe to it. A lot of these trees look a bit more like what kind of tree is that? Is that trying to be, I don't know what that, it almost looks like a pine cone, like pine trees or something, more so than it does like a Florida feel. So maybe that's just me thinking that, I don't know, but it's just, I got that feeling as the very first time I got on this track. I just felt like it wasn't quite as Florida-esque. I don't know. I don't know if it's the lighting of it. It doesn't have quite the sunset, as much sun lighting effect to it as I would think it might have and stuff like that. But that's all very minute stuff. I mean, it's just like very small in the grand scheme of it all here. So either way, man, I mean, as far as the full compound, I did enjoy it. I really do like the on-track, and it doesn't take a crap load of time to learn it, but it does take a little while. Not a whole lot of crazy, like, actual braking bump roughness, but there are, like, some areas where you'll get that natural Southwick sand roller through a corner type of feel to it, so that was kind of cool. He's got some cool decal work where it goes from kind of a gray sand to a more lighter brown dirt sand color. Couple areas where it's not, he could have been way basic, like back here on this section. He could have been so basic with this and not put any of these little smaller rut. You see these little like pre-made ruts he's kind of got going through there. He could have made that totally flattened out where there was no ruts. It was just the rollers right here, but he actually went in there and gave it a little bit of character. So I do appreciate that without, like, he put just enough in it to where it didn't make it so rutty to where you really had to slow down or anything. It didn't kill the actual section, but at the same time, it made it a little bit more interesting than just that super basic, like, no ruts anywhere kind of feeling. So thought that was cool. You could roll up the inside or the midline right there, but you can just see the rut height or the berm height. Very short. It's kind of got that, like, it's almost like you're in a flat corner, but you just got a little bit of something to kind of guide you and grab you just ever so slightly through the corner there. So definitely practice your whips on this track for sure, dude, without a doubt. So either way, man, as far as the Chad Reed compound, pretty good track layout, track feeling, on-track feeling, maybe missing just a little bit of the off-track vibes and certain stuff like that. Supercross tracks could have been done a little bit better. They seem a little bit more kind of basic, simplistic. I really did like that one. I thought it was kind of fun because of the bigger lines and stuff you could hit on it. This first one over here, let's see, he's got quite a few fence objects, grass objects, lots of just random objects in general on the track, but like right here, I did enjoy this one, even though it does have an old school feel to it, kind of feels a little bit outdated. I did enjoy the rhythms that you could potentially hit. The triple in right here, quad into this corner is really hard to get slowed down for, landing off that quad and then hitting this, tripling in, and then I think you quad this, quad or five that, and then you can quad out of that again. So I thought that was pretty cool, but as far as Supercross tracks goes, these are like pretty simplistic, pretty much just about as simple as they can possibly come right here. This one's got a little bit more advancement on the rhythms and stuff like that, which I did appreciate, but as far as this other one over here, she's pretty simple. I would think most people would get fairly bored of this one over here in a pretty short order, and then the Supermoto track, probably get bored of that pretty quick. So really the main attractions is like the outdoor track over there first and foremost, and then this Supercross track over here, you could have a little bit of fun on this one. But overall, man, yeah, you could probably ride with a road on this track, no road on this track, kind of work either which way there. So I'm gonna give this whole entire compound a I'm going to give it a 9 overall. I think it's right in that range. I don't think it's quite to a 10, missing just some small elements here and there. But, I mean, he's got a lot of different decal work, a lot of good grass placement. He might could have added one more grass model in there instead of just having one singular one throughout this whole entire kind of off-track area. You know, he could have added a little bit of variation on that. You can kind of get a bit of a basic-y feel in certain spots in that type of sense, but just his placement of it is pretty cool. Like you can see right here how he's kind of like scattered it out over here on this side and then kind of put a little bit growing up on the side of that jump face right there. I can take you for a ride on my big green tractor. Oh, shit. Looks like somebody tried to shoot him in the driver's seat right there. Okay, either way, 9 overall. It's the difficulty overall. I don't know, man. Ain't super difficult. I'd probably say this is more of a, I mean, the bigger jumps, like if you're a straight-up beginner, they can probably be like, whoa, there's some crazy jumps, but either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.